He is pointing at one of you guys about your microphone. Good now, sir? Okay, all right. Good evening, everyone. We'll call the meeting of Livingston County Board of Commissioners to order. Mr. Brown, has the meeting been properly advertised?
Yes, it has.
Thank you, appreciate that. Let's stand now. Mr. Mosley will come and be so kind as to lead us in our prayer and our pledge of allegiance. And we know Commissioner Jones should be coming in momentarily.
Okay, let us pray. Gracious and most kind Father, we thank you for your blessings, and we're so mindful of everything that you do for us on a daily basis. We pray that you would give this body the insight, the foresight they need to make great decisions for this community. And Father God, we pause and pray for Mr. Henry Craig, who's the president of the ACCG, who's going through. You know the challenges, and we pray you be with them. We pray for all the grieving families who are going through during this season of the year, Father God. And you pray, Father God, that you would comfort them and strengthen them. These and all the other blessings we ask in the precious, pointed, and powerful name of Jesus Christ. And everybody said amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic
For which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible,
with liberty and justice for all.
We got it. First time ever. First time ever. I saw the flow.
So duly noted.
I'm gonna go home and listen to it. That's the first time ever. I think it's the hats. Y'all might hear the hats all year.
You got one too.
Every day is Christmas. Every day is Christmas. You're a mean one, Mr. Grinch.
All righty, Department of Reports, Finance, Mr. Samantha Richardson.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman and
How are
Commissioners.
you?
I'm here to report on the county's October 2023 financial statements. At the end of October, for the general fund, we have collected about 15% of our total budgeted revenue and have spent approximately 29% of our budgeted expenditures. We currently only have 1.7 months of operating expenditures in our fund balance. This is down from last year, which was about 2.7 months. Looking at the departmental expenditures for the general fund, they're pretty much the same as last month, but I will go over those briefly. There's a few that are running ahead of schedule due to the timing of vendor payments that are required to be paid at the beginning of the fiscal year. These include data processing, our GCRDC dues, judicial administration, and Superior Court. There is one department, Animal Services, that is showing over budget due to some vehicle repairs required to be made in July, as well as some recent purchases of animal food supplies. But we do not expect this department to exceed budget for the year. It's just looking that way early in the year. Additionally, the Community Services Department is showing a little ahead of schedule based on those expenses we incurred for the Employee Wellness Fair. We are still waiting on some of the grant money to come in for that, but that will clear this deficiency. Let's see. Okay, turning the page to solid waste. Currently, through October, the solid waste department, or the solid waste fund, has revenues over expenditures of about $354,000. We have collected 34% of our revenues budgeted for solid waste and spent only 26%. There are currently no departments in the solid waste fund that are exceeding budget. And the same can be said for the special revenue funds. There are currently no unfavorable variances for those special revenue funds currently as well. Moving on to the SPLOST, or the sales tax reports. Sales tax 7, we brought in $1,062,000 for the month of October. This exceeded our monthly projection of $139,000. $788. And to date, we have collected $6.4 million of our SPLOST 7, for our SPLOST 7 sales tax. For T-SPLOST, we received approximately the same as we had the previous month, around $980,000. To date, we have collected $33 million of our total T-SPLOST dollars. And that total amount we will receive at the end is $54,000, so a little more than half we have received. Sales tax 6, I've included it in your report just to keep you updated on the projects and currently where we're at on the expending of those projects and that kind of thing. Let's see, but short and sweet, but that's all I have for October unless you have any specific questions. Yes, sir.
Later, I'd like to get with you on the District 1
Okay, yes, sir.
monies. I'm a little confused, but I won't take up time.
Yes, sir. I'm actually keeping additional spreadsheets for your tracking of some of your expenditures on your projects, like the Bill Carter Road and that kind of thing. So yes, we can talk in detail. Just let me know
Okay.
when you want to stop by or just stop in. Yes, sir.
I think each of us will probably need the same thing.
Oh, absolutely. Anytime. Yes, my door's always open. Absolutely. And some of those obligations that are on there are predate myself. So if anything is not happening or has already happened, we can certainly address those and get that cleaned up. Or if there's anything new that I don't have included as well.
Okay. Everybody well? Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
Appreciate you.
Merry Christmas to
Merry
everyone.
Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you.
LCPC.
Good afternoon.
Got new?
So my first presentation this afternoon is for Alder Grove Phase 1A Final Plat and Acceptance of Dedications. This is a Dryden Enterprises project designed by MESAC Engineering. It is 58 lots for single-family homes on 45 acres. It is in a PUD, and it is located on Isle of Wight Road, just before the curve you can see here. Just to give you another view of the property. Up here, Isle of Wight, Jane Street comes in here. And this is the total area being platted. It includes the 58 lots and some other tracts for wetlands, green space, and common area. There are a total of 4 sheets in this final plat. This first one is just an overall view of the subdivision. Sheet 2 does cover the lots here on the left, and sheet 3 covers these few lots on the right, plus this drainage and wetland area over here. We'll just quickly kind of show you the sheets. Sheet 2, sheet 3, and of course sheet 4 with all the parcel and line data and the signature blocks. Dedications to the county include drainage easements on these, what's highlighted in purple here. There's a drainage pond here, and it kind of connects over to a drainage pond here. There's a drainage pond here where it says Phase 1A, and I guess it's kind of hard to say, I apologize, but there are some linear drainage easements here for culverts as well. Dedications to the HOA, these 3 brown areas, about 9 acres, are wetlands. There are 3 green space lots, and then these purple drainage areas. So additional dedications to the county include, excuse me, about a little over half a mile of new streets. Alder Pass is the main one that comes off of Isle of Wight. And you have Buckingham Drive, Holland Drive, and Jane Street. And what they did with Jane Street, they just provided a 45-foot right-of-way, because Jane Street itself is only 45-foot right-of-way. So should that road ever be extended, it could make a cross-connection into this subdivision. There are no improvements on Jane Street, however, except an apron at the very beginning of it. Also dedicated to the county are sewer improvements and drainage easements for the functional maintenance of these drainage facilities. And as I mentioned or showed you before, the dedications to the HOA include the 10 acres for the common and detention area tracts, the 9 acres of wetlands, and the drainage easements, as the HOA will be responsible for the general daily maintenance of the drainage ponds. The city of Midway agreed to provide water and sewer services to this property, even though it's remained in the unincorporated areas of Liberty County. And these water and sewer extensions are being dedicated to the city of Midway, and that includes a pump station tract, and, but the pump station isn't complete, so the city of Midway has not accepted the water or in sewer improvements until they are both systems are complete.
Sure, this is in their service delivery area? Okay, all right.
So just for information purposes, so this is the pump station tract here, it's 0.13 acres, and then there is a small sewer easement here that's being dedicated to the city of Midway. And then this is the portion of Jane Street. You can see they're just constructing that apron off of Alder Pass right here. So the stormwater improvements are complete, and the county is holding letters of credit that guarantee the installation of the remaining improvements, and this includes for the primary improvements $97,860 for the paving, striping, and signage of the streets, and $129,540 for the sidewalks and street trees. And just to remind you, those are the sidewalks and street trees on the lots that will be built for houses. The common areas and along the wetlands, if there are any that are along the street, those sidewalks and street trees have been installed already. For maintenance of the improvements that are being dedicated to the county, there is $108,303.75 letter of credit that the county is holding for the 2 years for the maintenance of their improvements. The city of Midway has its own letters of credit. They have, in favor of the city of Midway, they have a letter of credit to complete the pump station, and then they also have their own 2-year maintenance letter of credit to cover the water and sewer improvements. So staff recommendation, LCPC staff recommendation is for Alder Grove Phase 1A, approval of the final plat and acceptance of the dedications noted on the plat with standard and special conditions. Those are our general special conditions. And then the special condition is that prior to issuance of any certificates of occupancy for any homes in this phase, the city of Midway shall have accepted the water and sewer improvements, and the deed for the pump station tract shall have been duly recorded. If you have any questions that I can answer, I'd be happy to.
Go back to your, I think about your second slide. Okay, just past it. Come back up.
The overall.
Right there.
Yes.
Okay. Have we, I guess this is a question, Mr. Chairman, for our county engineer also.
Yes, sir.
You know, when this first came up, I made mention of traffic control. It's gonna be an issue. It will be an issue.
Yes, sir. So right now, the issue is going to be at the intersection of Highway 84 and
Right.
Islands, no.
84 and,
White Road.
and Isle of Wight.
Yes, sir. I was about to say the wrong road name. I knew the road name, I just couldn't say it right. So yes, sir. You know, this is part of the things we took into consideration when the preliminary plat was adopted. And yeah, there are things that are going on there. We're also looking at, with our solid waste convenience center, relocating a little bit of Quarterman Road, making a change there that would eventually impact and help with that intersection. Right now, when you look at the traffic, it'll lower it down to a little bit lower level of service, but it is not at a will not be at a level of service D or F. It'll still be a B, or C. So we should be good.
Well, I've come through this several times, and I've seen traffic backed up because
Traffic does back
you
up.
got one car that wants to make a left and he can't, and he backs up everything. So.
Yes, sir. And that's kind of one reason we want to try to redo something with Quarterman Drive, because I think if we go back a little bit more, you see how Quarterman Drive comes in like within 50 feet of the intersection. And somebody pulls off of 84 and they want to turn, and then everybody's backed up trying to get out on 84. And all of a sudden, somebody else is trying to turn off 84 onto Isle of Wight Road, and it gets bogged down because they're trying to turn left. So, yes, sir, that's something that we need to kind of work on our side. And you'll notice that if you look back at some of the capital improvements that we were looking at to do for the solid waste convenience center, part of that was to relocate that portion of Ralph Corman Drive further back.
Right.
That way it doesn't, you don't have that problem. I mean, you'll still have it a little bit, but it'll be much better.
So, I know he's got another phase in here. So, could that be looked at and
Before,
accomplished before he
Yes,
thinks
sir.
about the next phase, because it's going to get worse?
yes, sir. Matter of fact, Mr. Brown and I were talking about that as far as where that solid waste convenience center falls on our capital improvement plan. That's up pretty soon as well. So we can certainly look at making sure we do something with that.
When we did the T-Splosh allocations for the quote-unquote safety projects, did that one come up as being discussed as a potential safety, or didn't carry the weight of the?
Some of the others.
Yeah.
No, sure. My mind is trying to scroll down the list, and I don't think we had that on that T-Splosh list.
Yeah, yeah.
It
But
needs to be
You
on
could do
that
it as
list.
discretionary funds if we wanted to.
discretionary funds, but I agree with Commissioner Stevens, there may not be a problem today, but, with the growth that's coming, we may as well go ahead and address it, put it in the hopper, because it takes time for these things to come to
Right.
fruition, so we may as well, I know we're gonna talk soon about those kind of things, so let's go ahead and make a note of that. That's what we need to look at. Let's not wait till it gets bad, if we can, to make the improvements there, because it's coming. It's coming.
Yes, sir.
And I remember some of the people from the area came to our meeting, and we kind of promised them we would look out for their well-being.
Yes, sir. No, I agree.
Yeah.
Because that is one of the things we're really looking at doing, as people have asked me about development in that area. That's one of the things we always talk about is Ralph Corbin's got to get
You
relocated.
keep saying Ralph Quarterman, it's not Ralph Quarterman.
Not Ralph Quarterman.
Not Ralph Quarterman. And you knew I grew up just down the street from Ralph Quarterman, so that's just going to come straight out my mouth all the time, and
Yeah.
I apologize for that.
Quarterman Road.
Quarterman.
Yeah.
I got it.
The proposed 84 median improvements, would that help that
No, sir.
situation? No, it would not. So it's on us, okay.
Right there, there's no signal.
There's nothing
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah, the problem is not caused by something on 84. The problem is caused by Quarterman.
Coming
Yeah,
out.
yeah. And our convenience center and all that being kind of bunched right in there, okay.
That's
All
right.
Well, let's not let it fall off the radar, so,
Yes, sir. No, sir, I do have it on my radar.
okay.
So-
All right.
Mr. Chair, real quick, Commissioner Stevens, I remember whenever we first started discussing this, weren't we even considering to help the flow of the traffic that they won't be able to turn across 84? Wasn't that?
Limit the left turns?
Right, no left turns?
That will not, they have to make
I don't know that we can,
do that.
I think what has happened is the way that everything is kind of lined up and all the deceleration lanes are set up for full access. One of the things we looked at doing was adding a right turn lane so that folks turning left don't cue people back. If you have a lengthy enough right turn lane that if you're turning right, you can get in the right turn lane and go on, and you're not in a delay situation because of the people trying to turn left.
Well, now, that ain't all we talked about, because if they leave out turning right, that means they're gonna have to turn left, and there ain't but 2 lanes out there, so.
Then they have to
I mean,
turn around.
I know for a fact, we discussed what Commissioner Stevens talked about, and that was a time that we even discussed where are we at according to what the city of Midway's area is. Now, some of that property is within the city limits of Midway.
It is.
So who's taking responsibility on the front side, on the entrance going in? Is that gonna be the city of Midway, or is that gonna be us or DOT?
Yes, sir, that's a question that has to get answered, and I don't know the answer to that question.
Well, we need to
Well, I
get
mean, I
Gonna be
don't
us.
mind, you know, the main thing is make sure people are safe, and,
Always.
me and the rest of the folks on this board was sitting here when we decided to put a light on South Lane going into Walmart. And I think that's been about 3 years, Joey, 4 years,
Well,
and it's not done yet.
No.
So we need to make sure that I mean, I don't think nobody is down there don't know how to drive coming in and coming out, because it's already a chore as it is now. But let's, you know, have some dialogue with folks, because all it does is create the growth because of the new construction across the interstate. Not everybody wants to go to the coast. They wanna live in that area right there, and I can't blame them, but we need to make sure we got the city of Midway on board and let them have some input on it. I thought there was, what, 500 feet from the road,
700.
700?
700.
So that would, you know, we definitely, even changing the Quarterman Road, it looks to me like they would be having some buy-in on it, and I don't know, I mean, they may have already talked with Commissioner Stevens or whoever else, but, you know, we've agreed for the subdivision, and now we know that there's homes coming, and we're deciding, wait a minute, we may have to stop this thing because of the traffic, so.
Well, we already know too that we need to make improvements to the solid waste convenience center for capacity issues
we
there
talked
as
about
well. So those are both kind of tied together.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
I think we even talked about possibly moving the convenience center, didn't we?
We are.
Right.
Yeah, even that came up. Yeah. Little dust on it, but that came up.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, you definitely won't get run over if you're walking across there, but.
You or, take me back to the discussion about Jane Street, how that works. Educate me on.
Okay, so several years ago, we looked at trying to pave Jane Street. It's a very narrow right of way, and we did some construction plans to try to do it. Drainage is somewhat of an issue, and I can't solve my drainage issues for Jane Street through this subdivision because the grades just don't work.
Okay.
But as this comes through, you know, the right of way on the tax map shows Jane Street coming all the way down, tying up next to this. Now, one of the surveyors, you know, has some problems whether there really is right of way through the last 2 lots right there, or last 4 lots. So there's a little bit of confusion there whether there's really Jane Street right of way or not. And when we did our plans, we stopped it somewhere up here. So we didn't come all the way down. But, you know, there has been in the past a desire to pave Jane Street and do some improvements on Jane Street. So as we are making sure that we have connectability to get back to this roadway system, so we have, you know, different drives and different ways to get in and out if we decide to do something with Jane Street in the future. Now, of course, that's completely up to you guys, whether we want to do something with Jane Street in the future. But, you know, we just tried to make sure we were, since there has been a desire to pave it in the past, that we have the ability to do what we need to do and we have the right of way we need to have.
Is the right-of-way issue our own doing, or is that something that happened in 1922?
Some of it happened years ago.
Yeah.
So,
Mr. Chairman,
Yeah, some of it's old, the right-of-way that's in there and the right-of-way that was established a long time ago.
Long time ago. When Jane Street was in District One, we talked about it. One of the big concerns that was there, and the people who were living on Jane Street, it comes out right in the midst of a curve on the blind side. So that's another safety issue that we need to take in consideration also.
But they've already built houses on James Street, haven't they?
Yeah, there's a lot of people living up and down Jane Street.
Right.
So. if
Yeah, the
they-
map just doesn't go up far enough to see where it is on the curve.
Right, well, I know where it's at right there. I thought there was houses
There are.
already in there.
Mhm.
New homes,
I don't know, I hadn't been up in there in a couple of years.
there's new homes already on.
In Jane Street,
Yeah.
probably so.
Mr.
Very well could be.
Mr. Chairman, I just had a question. Is Jane Street going to be open? Can those folks come out of Jane and exit?
No, ma'am.
He's going to have that blocked off, even though he's got.
No,
people
the
there?
right-of-way is there, but we did not make connectivity.
Okay.
Because there is question in the last 4 lots of what comes through there.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. So those issues are not there. They didn't make any improvements on that right-of-way. They just provided the right-of-way for us so that we have connectability with Jane Street if we ever need it.
If we ever need it.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Chairman, you ready?
Yes, sir.
I make a motion that we accept the final plaque and dedication on this Alder Grove Phase 1A.
Second.
Motion and second, further discussion? My discussion is, I'm being redundant, let's make sure we address the safety issues as proactively as we can, so that whether it's those of us sitting here now or someone who succeed us, that we've done our best to ensure that those citizens have safe entrance and exit out of that area that's gonna be growing. That's gonna be growing, as well as it feeds right into, as Commissioner Stevens said, it feeds right into all we got going on out of this highway, so we wanna make sure that we give it the attention it deserves.
One of the big growth we got coming.
Yeah. We don't want folk feeling sorry that they purchased property or bought houses in the area and then it's a hassle to get in and to, I hear that now from some streets here in town. People, have lived there for years, now it's a hassle to get in and out to their own driveways. I know we can't control it all, but as progressive as we can be in that effort, while the growth is going on, while we have these projects on our drawing boards, let's make sure we pencil whatever this interest X out of White needs to be safe. Yeah. All right.
We need a vote?
Oh, we did, okay, all in favor, I'm sorry, on my soapbox for a minute. All right. Motion passes. All right.
Okay.
Ms. Martin, yeah.
Okay, so the next presentation is for the preliminary plat for Flemington Forest. This is a Smith Family Homes is the developer, and this is TR Long Engineering Design. It is 111 single-family lots on 126 acres, and it is zoned R12, located on McIntosh Lake Road. Here's the aerial map of the area. There's Brights Lake circles around here and McIntosh Lake Road here, and then it takes a dog leg and heads over to the railroad tracks. This is the property that was before the Board of Commissioners not too long ago for rezoning for the outdoor storage facility there, boats and RVs and things like that. And this area is what's being, the general area of the Flemington Forest Phase 1. The lot standards in the R12 district is a 12,000 square foot minimum lot size with a 100-foot minimum lot width. The lots in this subdivision range from 19,000 to 68,000 square feet, and that is usable area, which means you're not counting any drainage areas or wetlands in that lot size. The setbacks, as you can see.
Pardon me, do this for me, you're a Trent one. Acclimate me, so when you say 12,000, I'm not good at that. 12,000 square feet,
Correct.
correlate that to half acre, quarter acre, third of acre?
Quarter, it's a little over a quarter
Okay,
acre. Yep.
all right, okay.
The front setback is 35, 25 feet to the rear. Side interior lot setback is 15 feet, and if the lot is on a corner lot, the side, it has to maintain 20 feet to that side street. The lots will be served by an extension of the Liberty County water system. And in August of this past year, you all did grant a waiver of the requirement that the lots have to be connected to a public sewer system. So each lot will have its own septic system.
Remember that.
This is the overall plot of all the lots. Brights Lake Road is here, McIntosh Lake is here, and it takes that right-hand turn. There are what I'm going to just kind of term two spine roads that are being developed in this phase. The southern one does connect out here, and there will be a temporary turnaround on that one, and the northern one has a temporary turnaround here. The northern one has one cul-de-sac, the southern one has two cul-de-sacs, and then it just kind of loops in on itself over here. There are, these dark areas here are detention ponds. There are 7 sheets to cover all of these 111 lots, so I'm going to kind of take you to the index sheet to show you where we are in the overall scheme of things before we zoom in on the sheets themselves and look at the details on each sheet. So this first one we're starting with here is right off of McIntosh Lake, and it covers part of both the spine roads and then this cul-de-sac. What we have here in green is a common area being dedicated to the HOA. This portion of it here will have the mailbox kiosk and some amenities, a pavilion and a playground. And then the remainder of it here will be a detention area. These blue lines here are drainage easements. So what I should explain also is that this subdivision is kind of set up in a similar way that the colonies at Habersham off of Leroy Cofer were set up. And by that, I mean all the drainage that's within the street right-of-way is going to be the county's responsibility. Everything outside of the street right-of-way will be either the property owner's responsibility or the HOA. And then similar also to the Habersham subdivision, the lot lines go through the drainage areas. So the lots, and that's why some of the lots seem really large, but the usable area isn't necessarily that large. So these drainage easements for these linear structures or swales are actually dedicated to the HOA and not the county. Over here, we have, in pink, is one of 2 access easements. This one here, as you'll see on the next sheet, does provide access to a cemetery that's on the adjacent property and also access for future development. So moving up, no, did I go in the wrong direction? No, okay, so here, we're moving up along that northern spine road here. There's the complete access, and that one, like, as I said, goes to a cemetery that's off the site here, and then here's the start of that second access easement for future development. Those drainage easements, and here you can, what's in blue here is a drainage easement that's on private property, but that drainage easement, again, is being dedicated to the HOA. This green area here is just a plot, it's a tract that's being dedicated to the HOA, so they don't need a drainage easement to themselves. And next, we're going to the end of that northern spine road, and we're catching a little bit of the cul-de-sac here that's off of that southern spine road. Drainage easements to the HOA, the remainder of those ponds, you can see the lot lines go through the ponds. There's another pond here that is completely on this lot here. The HOA is responsible for it, and then there's the completion of that access easement for future development. Now we're kind of heading out that southern spine road. We're catching the beginning of these cul-de-sacs and another pond. There's drainage easement HOA, cul-de-sacs, moving farther along. We have another pond here and some more drainage easements, again, all to the HOA. Now we're up in the looped roads up there. Some more drainage easements that connects into, that's the cul-de-sac off that loop road, off that southern spine road. And then this last sheet just covers this area up here. So there's a bit of overlap with what we just saw, but it basically covers a temporary turnaround in the lots up there. And then, of course, we have the parcel and line table that goes with all the plats. Now, they are proposing to phase development, construction of the development in this project, in this subdivision. They're gonna start with this blue area here, they're calling that, oops, sorry about that. They're calling that Phase 1A, and then they're gonna work their way out to the 1B and 1C along that northern spine road. And then they're gonna come out this way, out the other one, Phase 2A, B, and C, and this yellow at the end is Phase 3. That's their proposed. There may be a little tweaks along the way as they actually move along. So additional dedications to the county include 1.7 miles of new streets on 8 roads, and then the water utilities and the stormwater infrastructure within the street right-of-way. And dedications to the HOA is that 4.4 acre community lot with the pond, part of the pond and the amenity. As mentioned, the maintenance of the drainage system outside of the right-of-way, including the retention facilities, pond banks, ditches, culverts, structures, et cetera, will be the responsibility of the HOA or the property owner, depending on what stormwater facility it is. And then if it's the property owner's responsibility, it shall be deed annotated. LCPC, this was before the LCPC last month, and they did recommend approval of the Flemington Forest preliminary plat with standard and special conditions. Special conditions. So, as you all know, the water system has not been extended to this area yet. So, and nor have the developer, the Trent's office, been able to get into the property to evaluate the soils for, that the Department of Public Health will need to determine, the viability of septic systems. So the special condition is that no construction shall commence on the required improvements, and that includes the streets or the utilities or the stormwater, until the project has received approval from the Department of Public Health for the septic systems. EPD has approved extension of the water service to serve this development, and that the construction plans have been approved. This will basically allow them to go in, start clearing, do their soils surveys that they need to do, and buy them time, get them going until the water system can get built out to there, and they can then extend it for this project.
What's the approximate timetable on our water, Joey? On Trent, whomever?
We're requiring easements now for that water line. They have to be certified before we can put them out to bid. And so we're going through that process right now to acquire those final easements on that.
That's what I was trying to come up with.
Come on, come on. Why you
Great
coming?
job explaining everything, and we do need to get in and wrap things up with the health department. And it's just thick in there. As we were trying to get in there and get our soil borings, the number of borings that you gotta have per acre, it just came very evident that we needed to get in there and do the clearing before we could finish that up.
All
So we
this
kinda need to get-
is unincorporated Liberty County.
It is unincorporated. So we kind of needed to get on through. That way we can start getting the things we need to make it all work.
HOAs scare me.
Yeah, right, that's,
So now we can move those into, public easements and do that.
I'm not against them. I just not have seen where they work efficiently, especially for any length of time. You're gonna come and address that, my friend.
Can I speak to the LHOA?
Please do.
I'm Ashley Dirks with SLA Communities. Appreciate y'all hearing this tonight. It's been a long road to get to this point, but thank y'all for that. And sorry being a little late. I got stuck in some traffic because of a wreck. But,
We heard.
As far as the HOA portion, typically, a lot of counties are going to that. They're not accepting any drainage in the outside the right-of-way. Glenn County's doing it. A lot of them are doing that. And what we've done in our HOAs, we typically manage them until they're 100% built out. And what we do is we put together a stormwater manual that the HOA manages. We hire a contractor to come do inspections annually, any cleaning, anything like that, and it's built into the HOA budget. So it's not left up to homeowners to figure it out. We have a stormwater management manual that goes through all the inspections, labels all the piping and everything. No different than if y'all owned it, y'all would have as-built and things. So we put that manual in place, contracted out with a contractor, and he has annual inspections, and we pay them every year a fee to manage that. So it really takes off the worry of homeowners trying to figure out how to manage a stormwater system.
You know where they come, don't you?
What's that?
When things don't go right?
Oh, yeah, I know they're gonna come back to you, yes, sir. So that's why we try to head that off and make sure it's taken care of with a third party, and we're just relying on fixing something as it comes up. We're trying to be proactive on that stuff. We're starting to see that a lot in pretty much every county around the coastal area. They're starting to put that where anything off the right of way, it's homeownership, managed. So,
I didn't know that, Trent.
yeah. Yes, sir.
So that's the direction we're headed? Is that a LCPC?
Well, I think right now, I think as you mentioned, I think it defers the ownership and the responsibility for maintenance. I think always people think, y'all are always responsible. I've sat up there, I've been a chairman of county commission before, and we're always responsible for everything that happens. But we try to educate our homeowners when we close with them. We provide them a copy of the CCRs, the covenants and codes. We educate them on what responsibilities they have in the community of, if it's private roads, hey, you're paying into a reserve fund to repave these roads or fix sidewalks. We try to put a packet together as a kind of welcome, and then we remind them every year, annual meetings, this is what your dues. This is the line item that says stormwater management. This is the contract. We're paying him a fee every year to do inspections. We build a reserve for repairs over years, and we pay him a fee every year just to come inspect it. If he has to do work, we pull out those reserves. And so they're educated on it during the buying process and annually at their meetings. So it's not a surprise when something comes up. And I think as commissioners, y'all have to defer them back to us. And I know that's a hard thing to do. So we're not responsible for that, but it is a hard thing to do because I've sat in your chair as well, so I understand that.
I'm glad you feel our pain, my friend.
Yeah.
Because I'm trying to be honest. I'm not sure I know of any, I don't want to say any, that has worked well.
None.
We've got five or six in Glenn County that we do, and they've been in that process for several years. And so as soon as the stormwater comes up, they hear the complaint, they pick up the phone, they call the developer or the property manager and say, y'all got an issue, y'all got to take care of it. And they completely defer it, and typically it's taken care of because they've been doing it so long. Those property managers have those contractors, and some of the transition in place, it probably doesn't work as well. I see more issues in gated private communities where it's roads and everything is private except for maybe the water and sewer lines. I see more issues with counties having to get involved to force stuff, and that's typically projects that were failed, third level developers in there trying to help build the thing out. But usually when we start them off from the beginning, we try to educate and make sure they understand that process from the front end.
Do you have any references?
As far as projects,
No. HOA?
HOAs, we have 3 in Glenn County that I can talk. Woodland Cove, which is off of Golden Isles, Tanglewood subdivision, which is off of Highway 99, McAllister Point, which is in Richmond Hill. Bryan County does that now, not Richmond, but Bryan County. It's in Richmond Hill, but it's in unincorporated. So McAllister Point in Bryan County, that's a requirement of theirs when we record the plat, that we provide a copy of that stormwater management plan to them. That's why we drew it up, and we kind of use that same template across the board, but we provide that stormwater management for them. So Bryan County does it on all theirs, and I'm sure you could reach out to them and they would tell you kind of how their process works as well, if that's something y'all want to move to. Trying to think of another one. Our project up in Springfield, that's a fully gated community, so everything's private, roads and everything. Effingham County accepts outside drainage. Statesboro, in city limits of Statesboro, all drainage off the right of way is private, and we do the same thing, a stormwater management plan in there as well.
Mr. Brown, Chairman, Board, hear me if I'm correct, I think now we're going to add more additional roads onto the road department? Am I correct?
Not,
Yes, by both of these subdivisions
Right.
eventually.
Less than 2 miles, I think it was.
yeah.
How much, Commissioner?
I think it was 1.7 miles.
And that's something that we as this board, we need to start taking a serious look at, because we cannot sit here and let the road department run short.
Yes, sir.
Along with, if you go back to that slide where it said the 1.7 miles, but there was also some easements in there, and and the easements would belong to the homeowners and not the HOA. But
No, the easement, the land is owned by the homeowners, but
Right.
the HOA has the easement.
the HOA has the easement, okay. Okay. So if there's any blockage, anything in that easement, the HOA would handle that just like they would do all other
Just
stuff?
like what you
at-
do now, like if,
Okay.
in the city of Hinesville, where you're having to go between houses to rear lots, the HOA takes care of that now.
Okay.
And to answer your question too, Southern Coast, which is Old Holtzman Realtors, and Wykert are both into managing property owner associations in the last couple of years. And they've actively moved into that role. So we have some local companies that are starting to do that now. Because a lot of, I'm with you, there are a lot of HOAs that just historically have not worked here.
Right.
But, you know, we've been doing more and more of these, and there are firms getting involved in the active management of it, and it's working much better.
Well, here, Trent, it said the utilities, water and stormwater infrastructure within the streets and the right of way. Okay, now out by the road, so is this gonna be a curb and gutter street, or it's gonna be open ditches?
Curb and gutter,
Curb and gutter? Okay, so we just have to sweep it?
just not sweep it.
The county would? Okay.
Curb and gutter per our ordinance, or curb and gutter part of the
Per
development?
our ordinance.
Okay.
But if it wasn't, it would be curb and gutter. We don't do ditch and drain. It is a maintenance nightmare for us. Y'all, we
Yes,
need
sir.
tons of warranty calls to come back, because a little bit of water sitting in front of the yard. We've got one subdivision with 19 lots that we bought that was an existing pre-recession. We built it out, 19 lots. The next 60 lots we're building behind it is all curb and gutter. We could have continued it that way. We don't want that mess. When we finish with a neighborhood, we want it to look like a neighborhood, not something we just plowed out there in the field, so.
Okay.
I'm impressed so far. You know, I'm reminded though, Commissioner Jones, of what's that neighborhood in your in your district there, where the people kind of filled in and caused flooding and all that kind of stuff?
No, that's Habersham Plantation,
Drove
where they
across
filled
the
in the
ditch.
roadside ditches. Oh, yeah. It caused a lot, where the water goes out in the road and
That's a
can't
mess.
get cleaned out.
HOA and non-HOA?
That's non-HOA.
Non-HOA, and just to clarify yours, you were talking about easements on the HOA side. The HOA approves any type of exterior improvements on the outside of those houses. That includes fences, and that's the biggest issue when counties and cities are coming through there trying to maintenance infrastructure. So when a person applies for a fence in our neighborhoods, we're the declarant, we approve or disapprove. Everyone that comes through, they're made put on the property line, all the property line corners, they can't come 4 feet, 3 feet off, so everything looks uniform. When they're on an easement, we give them the option to put it on the easement line to stay out of there and just put a fence across the front so it's uniform in the front and there's not an open grass strip. Or they sign a waiver that allows us to take that fence down within a 24-hour period if we need to maintain it. They sign that up front and give us those rights. So we've been through this thing numerous times and 20, 30-plus communities, and we've tried to, head these things off on the front end so that when we do have to get in to maintain those easements, whether it be pipes or ditches, we have exclusive access within a brief period of time to make sure that happens. I know sometimes it becomes an issue where y'all may have a storm line that's to a fence up and you're arguing with a neighbor whether he's gonna take his fence down or not. We put all that stuff in place on the front end when we start a community so that that's not an issue.
Yeah, I think part of with the HOAs in Hinesville, and when they get started, let's say the first 7 to 10 years, I mean, it's great. But Hinesville being a transit community, and of course this is not Hinesville, but transit community is going to cover a good part of Liberty County. Then you get the second and the third homeowner that comes in there, and now this guy is renting. He doesn't own it, and he doesn't care what happened. And that speech that you give them and all of the rules and regulations for the first guy, the second and third guy don't hear that. And even if he hear it, he don't care. Because he's paying rent and he don't care.
You're exactly right.
He don't care what the grass look like. He's changing the oil and fixing cars in his driveway. I mean, he ain't doing none of those rules that's been put in place. And that's kind of what happens. And the HOA disappears. And that's when our phone starts to ring. So that's
And the only thing we can do to combat that is typically, even though we're the declarant, we don't manage it in-house. We hire a property manager, and it's usually a big company. It's not a local real estate agent just collecting dues and paying the bills. It's a property manager. They're going out doing compliance every week or every 2 weeks, checking, make sure people are cutting their grass, all this stuff. So the biggest thing we can do is to set the HO up with a good property management company. And then as we get enough homes in there, we're probably one of the few builders that do this. Even though we're the decision maker, I typically get an advisory board or advisory committee. They're non-voting members, but they're like a HOA board of homeowners that help me make decisions of, what contracts they want for landscaping and things. But what that does, it builds a continuity between that property manager and homeowners through that process. So it's not like the declarants got all the control and they don't let us do anything, and then we turn it over and they fire the property management company and they bring another one in that doesn't know the history. So we've tried to build that continuity. Typically, when we get about 30 homeowners in there, we'll have a HOA committee that helps me. They basically make all the decisions. ARC, as long as it isn't detrimental and it messes with the look of the neighborhood, we typically let them kind of run it. And so they build a relationship with that property manager. And so when we step out when the last home sold, that HOA manager's retained, and they continue to work with that HOA manager for times as those boards change, people come and go. And hopefully that's a little bit of continuity that helps, spread that gap, and that issue hopefully gets pushed further down the road. But eventually that will happen as you have, no different than sitting on a commission. In 20 years, y'all all be gone, or some of you will be. Next group will be, and they'll have different ideas and things will change. But we try to do our best to get a good transition there.
So with all you saying right there, all you're saying right,
I cut that.
oh, with all you're saying right there, would some of this be put in black and white and hand to each
That's what
Yeah,
he
we
said.
could, when
person
we
that
go to plat
purchase
it.
a property so that they will understand?
Yes, so when we close on a piece of property, we provide them with the CCRs, all the HOA documents, all the bill of rights, I'm sorry, the bylaws for the community that state that, and then typically we provide them with whatever the HOA is responsible for, a budget that shows all the items, and we can provide them with a copy of that stormwater management. Typically, we provide that to the property manager, and we help manage that, but it's a line item on their budget. But we can go into depth as much as we need to make sure that they take care. A lot of, like Bryan County, I was mentioning earlier, when we record our plat there, they require a copy of the CCRs and a copy of that management manual to show that we have those things in place versus just saying the developer's gonna have it in place. We put them in there because we want some type of, governance of it. We don't want to come back there 10 years from now, a community we built with our name on it that looks bad. We want to keep those compliance items up, and so we try to be as upfront with them. And so we provide those documents at closing, or at contract electronically, and at closing they get a copy and they actually initial and sign off with the attorney that, hey, I know I'm going into an HOA. I know there's rules in place. I know I have to pay dues that pay for these things. So that answer your question, Commissioner Stevens? Okay.
Let me ask you a question, because I inherited this area when they redrew the lines. Right now, you're not, there's no water there.
Correct.
And nobody knows when there will be water. Brent and I talked the other day, and, I know we're trying to get the easement, but you gotta go down 84, and then you're gonna have to go in on McIntosh Lake Road.
Correct.
And if you started in the morning with two houses, you know how long you're talking about to be without water. And, we need to be, you've been up front with us, and I just wanna be up front with you, because I don't have a crystal ball to tell you when the water will be there. And that's something is that gonna stall you from your work?
No doubt. We would not go in there and start building infrastructure till we knew that thing was intimate, meaning that it was gonna be there when we ready to tie on. We would be foolish financially to go out there and put millions of dollars in the ground with the hopes that y'all would have it ready. We're gonna wait till we understand what your timeline is, when it's gonna be serviced, when our taps are sitting there in front of our site. So hopefully, in conjunction with us starting and y'all getting that there, we'll make the decision to move forward. It'll be probably on this site, the size it is, it's not very many lots, 40-something lots in the first phase, but it's a lot of area because they're larger lots. It'll probably be a 8 to 10 month development period. So if we knew that water was coming in 6 months, we would start. If we knew it was coming in 12 months or 10 months, we probably would delay that. we'd try to time it, and we would watch that. We would not get ahead of ourselves where we had a lot of money sitting in the ground that we couldn't go vertical with houses, so,
So
yes, sir.
in the water situation, Trent, we're gonna put in the main line, and we're gonna put the taps and the meters in, right? Is that where we're at?
Yes, sir. Now, what we'll do for our portion, we're going down 84, we're going down Brights Lake Road. Not Brights Lake Road, going down McIntosh Lake Road. We are providing places for them to connect to our water system. Then they take they extend our water system into their subdivision, and they install all the service laterals and the meters and get all that done.
Okay, so that's my next question. So, a bell blows out, a hydrant goes bad, whose responsibility is that?
Okay, so when we install ours, the part that we install is our responsibility. The part that they install, once it's accepted and the final plat is done, they have to file a maintenance bond for 2 years. So they're responsible for making sure that it works for 2 years.
That's roadways too, correct?
That's right.
Roadway, yes.
That's right. Roadway, water system, drainage, the whole
Anything we
9 yards.
dedicate.
Anything we're dedicating. And then after that point, it's our responsibility because, then the county has become the owner of the system by then.
That's right.
Well, I mean, we know that you got a time frame in here, which part of that's gonna be just getting material. Hydrants and all of that, so, we don't wanna have a builder out here waiting on us, and.
Yes,
I mean, right now, there's a possibility he's waiting on us because there's no water.
that's right.
And that's
We
one
know
thing
each
I
other.
wanna make sure that, instead of us meeting him halfway, we're encouraging the growth, and we wanna make sure that
Yes, sir.
that it's done right. The other
We
thing
certainly
about
won't.
it is in these subdivisions with that many lots, and I'll just ask my good friend here beside me, that's gonna be with no required street lighting?
We will put street lighting in whether it's required or not.
You are?
We do. So typically in every community we build, requirement or not, we put in power, underground power throughout the community. We put in street lighting, and the other thing we do is a street tree program, required or not. We typically, if you go through any of our communities in any market, in the Savannah market, Brunswick, Camden County, we started putting street trees in the 96, 97 timeframe in Richmond Hill prior to anybody having any tree ordinances. When you go through our community in 15, 20 years, it's our name. We want it to look like a community. And so the street trees aren't cheap. They're $300, $400 a piece. We put them typically every 40 feet along the roadway. Here, they'll probably be every 60 or 80 feet because it's a lot more right of way and a lot more dead space between lots because they are larger lots. But there'll be a street tree every so often, and the house gets street trees as well. Talking about trees in this community, one thing we're doing in this one, and the way the grading plan's done, we're only going in and clearing 100-foot right of way and 80 foot where the house is going. We're leaving as much vegetation in there as possible so that each house has a buffer between them and the next neighbor. We could clear cut all of it, make it a lot easier for ourselves, but we'll go in there and select and clear just the house pad, rear yard, septic field, and, plenty of backyard to have area for them. But we want to have that, drive down the street and you're not going garage, 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 garage. It's more spread out and there's a lot of street tree, or a lot of natural vegetation plus those street tree program.
You set the bar high, my friend.
I know,
If y'all ever come to Richmond Hill, our office is there. If y'all want to stop by, I'd be glad to show you any of our communities.
I'd like
we're
to
just
see.
encouraging them to move over here.
I'd like to see.
Y'all make it easier to get it through the process, we'll be here.
I don't have anything else,
Can I ask you one more question?
Yes,
I'm
sir.
learning as you talk. So the playground is just something you decide to provide as an amenity to your subdivision?
Yes, sir. I don't think y'all have, some communities, like I say, they have a requirement, so many active and passive. We do at a minimum some type of, playground or something. The biggest amenity we put in is sidewalks. We think that's the biggest amenity because we've done, Lamar, one of our principals in our company, he's been on state Home Builder Association's president. He's on the national committees now, and they survey subdivisions across the country. The number one amenity in a community is sidewalks, the connectivity. That's where they're going to spend a lot of their time walking kids, riding bikes, Most people want sidewalks more than they want pools. And so we put sidewalk programs in every one. Typically, we do a 5-foot sidewalk. A lot of places require 4. We always put a 5, and we leave that 6-foot off space from the curb so we could put the street trees in, so.
Secondly, are street lights required for ordinance? No?
Did we add that in the union?
Yes, but this was submitted before the UDO.
Yeah.
We will have-
It is now.
We will have street lights.
Okay.
So,
I heard you say that. I know if you were doing that.
yes.
I
I don't know if it was required or not. I mean, we always put street lights in.
So how about
It used to not be.
the one we just talked about earlier on, Isle of Wight? That'll have street lights?
Usually Dryden does put some streetlights in.
Okay.
They may not be quite as, the same as what they're doing, but they will have streetlights.
A citizen stopped me the other day and asked me about putting some street lights out in some rural areas. I said, as a county, we really don't do that, so that's what.
And I don't know if y'all even accept streetlights. If y'all don't, those will be taken into the HOA, and the HOA will be paying for those. So what we typically do is we put in a antique style with a globe on top. A lot of them's LED now. They look like a globe. They're more expensive. If the county takes them over, we pay for the streetlights up front so that the rate's bought down to whatever y'all's monthly fee is. If you don't, we still buy them down, and the HOA pays like $30, $40 a month for the lights. A lot of developers put those more expensive in, they don't buy them down, and so the HOA winds up paying $300 a month for lights. So we put, it's part of our cost of our lights to sell to our home building
Do
company.
do we accept street lights?
We have not ever accepted street
No?
lights. I think the challenge there, especially with the new ordinances, making sure that HOA's in place is stable enough to pay the cost
Okay.
of street lights and maintenance of them.
All right. Okay. All right. All right.
Well, now, do we have, if they're on the utility poles, do we get franchise taxes from them? Because it being not in a municipality?
We don't.
Flemington and places like that do. Well, I think they all look good with lights, and
Yeah.
my good friend on the other end probably likes lights too, but
Yeah.
I'm afraid this is,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm glad we're starting where we're at, but, the obstacles that I see in there, Trent, we're just going to have to depend on you. Now, I don't want people to see me
Yeah, if
with
he
my
keeps
knee
his
in
word,
their
we're
back.
good.
But
Yeah.
No, you're right.
I just want to make sure we move forward with it.
All right, we ready, sir?
Yeah, I make a motion that we move forward with it, not hold this gentleman up any longer.
Second, Mr. Chair.
Motion and second, we approve the presentation by Marty. Any further discussion? I was telling Commissioner Swift, like, time is on our side. He needs time and we need time, so, so it gives us time to get our infrastructure in place, so. We look forward to it, sir. All in favor, show of hands, please. All right. Thank you. All right. Was Mr. Davis gonna be on the, you don't know, huh?
We got Trent in his month report.
Come on, Trent. Trent's been up so much, he did it.
Well, I'm trying to go quick. Commissioner Walden asked me to be quick earlier. So I'm gonna hit as many things as I'm gonna hit it as quick as I can. Thorough, but quick.
Yeah.
Thorough, but quick. So, one of the things that, on our, Highway 17, Barrington Ferry, Lewis Fraser Road roundabout project we got going on, we, need to send a, letter of, support to the Department of Transportation. They sent out a form letter that they like for us to sign and send, which basically says that, you know, if there's any, landscaping that's required in the roundabout, we, maintain after it's installed. And once streetlights are required, that we maintain the streetlights when the streetlights are installed. And obviously that we support the project now, since it's being partly county sponsored. You know, there's an obvious level of support, but this letter formalizes it, and it allows them to check a box and help us move forward in their plan development process.
Right.
So this didn't come out in my packet because we didn't get it till yesterday. So I put it in your packet today, or yesterday afternoon. That way you can kind of look at it, and it's just a pretty simple letter. Yes, sir.
No, but not, you back back up a little bit. You said that if there's some landscaping inside that roundabout, that, the county would be responsible for like cutting the grass, pruning the flowers or whatever?
Yes, sir.
And that's in the city of Rice, is that Riceboro?
No, it's in the county.
It's in the county.
In the
It's
county?
between the two.
Yeah. Right at the edge of it.
It's in the county. And they require a little bit of landscaping in the center of the roundabout. You know, you want something there so that there's a visual, you know? So, we don't doll it up a lot, but we do put a little bit in there. They do require some landscaping in there.
So mainly we'd be looking like, at the landscaping like what was supposed to be at 17 and
Yes, sir.
196?
It looked good. We just need to, yeah, I rode through there the other day. That's kind of got to get reestablished. It's kind of,
Yeah.
But no,
it's kind of faded away.
They just cleaned up the flower beds, they just didn't put no ground cover back down there, no straw or mulch or whatever, but, I mean, it normally looks pretty good.
Well, a lot of the oleanders and other things have died over the years. And so, yeah, that one, I'm starting to look a little sad. It needs
Yeah.
to be spruced up again.
Yeah.
But yes, sir, there will be that requirement. Now, we've had that up there. That's been there almost 10 years.
Has it been that long?
Been a long time.
17, Probably about time for the county to start.
So you need us to,
Yes, sir.
Vote on
It
this.
would be great if you guys could, do a quick vote to, show support.
That should be
And then
minimal.
Mr. Brown can sign it tomorrow and we can send it off. Or
Chair, entertain a
not
motion.
tomorrow, next week.
Mr. Chair, I'll make that motion that we accept this indication of
Roundabout.
the roundabout support.
Is there a second to the motion?
Second.
Motion second, we approve the indication of roundabout support. I'll just say this, we're trying to work with DOT on more projects, so I won't kick on this.
Yes,
But I
sir.
could say a lot.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All in favor?
Mr. Chair, Mr. Long, before you walk away, could you send us another update, the whole board, another update? I don't care if it's how you get it to us and what this should actually look like
On the what looks like?
on this project.
Oh, yes, sir.
And
If you don't mind me waiting till like the first week in January, I will.
Okay.
So, part of this process, they have a team that reviews our roundabouts. And it's called the RAID team. It's RAID, and it's an acronym, and I can't remember what it is. But we've been waiting for comments from them for, 2 months? I finally got them yesterday. And it's gonna make a little difference in the way it looks. So, my guys started trying to make those comments, address those comments today. So, it's gonna be a little short-staffed next week, but the week after that, I can fix that up and send it back out to you.
And while you're at it, send us the update on the Barrington Ferry 119.
Yes, sir.
Talk about,
We can do that.
because we still need to have a meeting with the, I guess, city of Riceboro and the 2 churches and the store.
Okay, so, Will Cemetery Road, we are working on, the one last easement we need. Had a little bit of conversation about that before the meeting. We'll continue on that. Elm Street and Windhaven sidewalks, he's gonna start first part of January. We gave him notice to proceed for the 2nd of January. Where he was kind of lined up with all his projects and the way the holidays fell, it was not gonna really be good to have everybody's yard torn up during the holidays. So we said, go ahead and start on the 2nd. He's already submitted his shop drawings for drainage structures and all his materials, so that's on the way to being done. So we should be seeing a good start from him. And he does a good job of starting on time and working till it gets done.
Okay. How about the letters to the citizens that we discussed?
Yes, sir, that will go out
Before or after?
before he starts.
Okay.
Usually we send it out about a week ahead of time.
Okay.
And we hang it on the doors too.
Strategic.
Okay. Right, because I know I requested that we do something as well,
Yes, sir.
or,
Yes, sir. We write the letter.
okay.
And then we send it out and we give it to them and they hang them on the doors.
Okay, good deal.
Okay, we talked about the water system. We are trying to finish up easements on there. Mr. Brown and I talked about that a little bit before the meeting, but we are trying to pursue those and push those a little bit. I want to skip down to Claudia Lane, the water system bids, the 4th of January, so we should be able to get that up and going. And we do have our approval letter from EPD, so we're all good there. I knew it was coming, but it just was waiting. Limerick Road, they showed up, and they did a little bit of stonework, and they were gone again. They weren't out there again today, were they? So we're gonna have some more conversation about this at our next meeting about how we want to do it, because their contract is gonna end January 2nd. And I know that asphalt plants are closed next week.
Mr. Brown,
You know, we'll probably need to have a conversation. Let me and Mr. Brown get together, and we'll get with you and talk about how we want to handle that.
Mr. Chair, I got a question for Mr. Long. I hear what you're saying about Limerick Road. How many projects have we had over the years that have not met the completion date? And have any of them to return any money to us for being behind schedule, not due to weather or anything?
Yes, sir.
How many?
This very company, last year, didn't finish the Palm Drive Point South. They didn't really start it till the contract was just a week without finish, and we held $26,000 out of their contract.
We held 26?
We held $26,000.
Well, wait a minute, we held it, did we give it to them on the end?
No,
Oh, okay,
they never got it.
okay,
And it's liquidated damages that they did not get paid.
okay.
That's our raise we're getting this year.
Yeah. So, yes, sir, we do that. When they run out, we do keep liquidated damages, and, you know, we do give them the benefit of rain days. And of course, like this contractor, they've had a lot of rain days, but they haven't been there working. So how can you count those rain days as a delay for them? So, you know, it does happen. Most of our contractors generally finish on or close. We do have an issue at the fire station. Well,
Yeah, but not really
that's
caused by.
not caused by this. But, you know, you are gonna end up with those issues
Okay.
as you go along, but yes, sir, we do keep track, and we do enforce liquidated damages.
I was not aware of it, that's why I asked the question. Maybe
Oh,
the
yes,
rest
sir.
of the board might have been aware.
Yes, sir. So, that's it, unless y'all have any other specific questions.
Miller Fire Station. I
Coming along
stopped in.
slow.
I stopped in the other day, and the asphalt that they were putting down was almost, some of it was less than an inch. I got pictures of it.
We will check on that, because
It's on the,
they slipped in there and were doing some of it. My guys were not able to be there
it was on
when
the
they
east
slipped in to
side.
do it.
It was on the east side. I can send you the pictures, or I'll take you down there and show you exactly where it's at.
Yes, sir.
That's not
Well,
gonna hold up.
Don't worry. Now
Hold
that
up.
you've told me that, I'm going to, Andy will probably be out there tomorrow
Okay.
and checking on that.
Tell Andy, give me a call, and I'll go down
will.
there and show him exactly where I'm talking about at.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Anything else?
Bill Carter Road.
Thank you for letting me know.
Grassing. The grassing on Bill Carter Road is still slow coming.
Yes, sir, we're still holding money on the grass.
All right. Hold on to it.
Yes, sir. I told them who they needed to use to get the grass growing, but they didn't do it. All right, anything else for me?
Thanks, sir.
Y'all have a very Merry Christmas. Thank you very much.
Same to you.
Merry Christmas, sir.
Enjoyed the cake too.
Yes, sir. Glad you did.
Yeah, we really did.
I saved it for Christmas.
All right, Mr., is he gonna join us? Okay.
Pop phone.
Gene, I feel bad for you. You
Hey,
feel
Mr.
better.
Davis, we're gonna queue you up right here, and you're on, we're gonna do the phone gig, so we're gonna try it.
Okay, thanks.
We're ready.
All right, good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
Hey, hey.
I'm just reporting what's now public knowledge, but, the Board of Commissioners and others had concerns about the timber processing project that was planned by Weyerhaeuser here at Riceboro. And I think in response to the community's concerns, as you know, Weyerhaeuser has decided to relocate the project, and I think they're to be committed for that. And, I think you folks are to be committed as well for representing your constituents and ensuring that that was accomplished. So I think everybody deserves a round of applause all around.
Yay.
And I will have to say, it really wasn't that big of a decision for Weyerhaeuser. I mean, they were very responsive and they acted responsibly, and I think they want to be good community partners going forward, and I was very pleased with it.
Kelly, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Well, I would say like what we did with the chairman, Representative Williams, the mayor of Riceboro, and myself. Like I say, we came together and put together like a press conference, and there was real good support, even all the way from Colonel Rollins was there, and McIntosh County.
And Hinesville.
And, yeah, for a little while. But anyway, we welcome industries to Liberty County, but we want to also welcome industries with clean environment and also to protect our waters. So my hats are off to everybody who participated, and it shows that if we stick together, we can always get things accomplished.
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you, sir. We'll have that on for the record.
Good evening, everybody, and Merry Christmas to everybody.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
So, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
So in that case, Weyerhaeuser decided that, say, okay, well, we're just gonna go somewhere else. So they're gonna go somewhere else and do what we didn't want to do here, the same toxic material.
They could possibly do that because.
Possibly, I mean, from what I read, they said that that's what they were gonna do.
In fact, they have plants now that said in Washington State that uses that chemical, and it's allowed out there. Yeah.
We about to breathe different.
Let them take it someplace else, not in my backyard.
Not in ours.
Okay.
Thank you, sir. Yeah.
As long as it ain't around here.
That's right. We're gonna move item 5A to mid-month in January, go right down to 5B, appointments, Liberty County Health Board.
Yes, sir.
Go ahead, Connie.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. We have 2 appointments for the Liberty County Health Board. Both of the current members have both resigned because one has retired and the other has moved out of the county and not working in the county. So we would need have 2 that has applied. Ms. Melinda Sharp, which will replace Peggy McGee, and her current is, she works with the Cohen Center for Mental Illness, and that's who she would be representing on the Liberty County Health Board.
Okay.
And I would need,
All right. So that's your recommendation?
Yes, sir.
If one of your committee members would make that in motion, we'll,
So move, Mr. Chair.
is there a second?
Second.
Motion second, we have Ms. Belinda Sharp to replace Ms. Peggy McGee on the Health Board. Further discussion? All in favor, show of hands, please. All right, Ms. Sharp is reported. Now for the next position.
yes, sir. The next will replace, and we hate to have to replace him, but Dr. Borquay
Yeah.
is going to be replaced by another physician, and that would be the title in which they hold is to represent the hospital, the physicians in Liberty County, and that would be Dr. Anna Speltz.
Yeah, I hear good things about her.
Yes, sir, I have to.
Yeah, Chair, entertain a motion.
Don't move.
Is there a second?
I will second.
Motion second, we have Dr. Anna Speltz to replace long-term serving Dr. Borquay. Any further discussion? All in favor of that motion, show of hands, please. All right, Dr. Anna Speltz is appointed.
Mr.
to the
Chair,
board.
on our last issue for this, the A-team side for this year,
Oh.
for the A-team side, we have a resignation here from a member of the Tax Assessor Board. So that will be passed on to the B team next year. And from what I can gather, there's another resignation from another department, but we don't have a letter, so I won't say the name.
And we will make sure that those are advertised pursuant to your guidelines, just as
Right.
soon as we can get it in.
Okay.
Commissioner Stevens, I would like to commend whatever letter you call yourself down there. But y'all did a real good job this year, with your board appointments, which just only, tells me that y'all were paying attention the year before. If you don't remember, January 1st will be here soon, and just watch again, and you'll see how smooth it goes.
Okay.
And we'll remain the B team, if that's right.
Oh, boy, challenge is on. Thank you. Oh, we look forward to that. Economic Development Update, Commissioner Frazier.
Okay, I'm here.
In your own way, sir.
I guess I just need a clicker. I could do it from up here, though.
Sure, yeah. You see it
Here we
quick.
go. Remind me of Bob days. Next slide. Let's go. No, let's start back over. I was just practicing. To my fellow commissioners, Mr. Chair, I'm just here to give a quick update on what we've talked about from the beginning of the year at our workshop when we were talking about our economic development opportunities and our creation of an economic development authority. Cool. Next slide. So this is just a quick update. So this one is just the what, the why, the who, and the how. Next slide.
Oh, you don't have the clicker?
No, I don't have a clicker. All right, so the what? So the mission for the Economic Development Authority would be, the mission of the Economic Development Authority is to foster economic growth through collaboration and innovation for the continued prosperity of our community. The main objective is it's not just the city of Hinesville. Of course, you know, the city of Hinesville has two authorities already. They have the Hinesville Downtown Development Authority. Then they have the Hinesville Development Authority, which our chairman still serves on, and I was the past vice president. And with that authority, we were able to do a lot of different things. One of the larger projects that we were able to accomplish under that development authority, actually that was one of our first projects that we did, was the Oglethorpe Square. And you all, I think everyone knows that the Oglethorpe Square project was and continue to still be a tremendous success in our community. It was a project that I know we all are from here, so we remember what was there prior to that particular project and what's there now, and the amount of economic impact that that particular project has brought to this community. And then also another project was the incubation center that's now open, which is definitely a great project and helped economic development, especially for small businesses. Next slide. The why. So the why is pretty much self-explanatory. It's going to help increase the strength and diversity of our local and regional economies to create jobs and improve quality of life for our residents, which I know everyone on this board looks forward to doing and help creating. So the municipalities and regional districts can take various approaches and use specific tools and strategies to support economic development in their communities. The who. So this is what we've talked about. I've talked to the chairman about it as well. It's going to be a community stakeholders particular type of structure. Of course, with us, with the support of our fellow commissioners. And then also, I've received a letter of support from each mayor from all the other municipalities, from the city of Midway, city of Walthamville, the city of Riceboro, and the city of Flemington. And we've also discussed having 2 appointments from the private sector. So each municipality will have a representative on that board, And then also from the commission standpoint, we will select 2 from the private sector. And I guess hopefully we could get this in fruition next year. So I guess that means the B team will be able to make those appointments. Next slide. The how. So the how is where we are now. So I make the recommendation that we create more of an economic comprehensive plan. I know we have a Liberty County comprehensive plan for, whenever it comes down to zoning and everything, but more importantly, we need to figure out a comprehensive plan for economic development and growth. Everyone in this room understand that this particular region right now is basically on fire. It's not just a regional thing now. Globally, they're looking at us. From Savannah all the way to Bullitt County to obviously Bryan County and everything else. So this goes back to something that we even discussed at our countywide workshop about our identity. And the more that I thought about it, the more that I started thinking, whenever we discuss who we are, our identity, it's not just our identity per se, who we are, but from an economic standpoint. What type of economic footprint are we looking to make in this community? Because it's up for grabs right now, and it's been up for grabs for a while. So we just need to figure out which and how we're going to move forward. So I make the recommendation that we come up with some type of economic comprehensive plan, and also with the support of our board, I would ask for us to come up with a subcommittee to focus strictly on economic development and see how we can move forward. I think that's the last slide, right? There we go. So,
One question,
go ahead.
Commissioner Frazier. The slide about the stakeholders and the municipalities, now, of course, Allenhurst, Gum Branch, I mean, there's real small municipalities. But so would that be elected officials from these municipalities, or would it be someone that just someone that lives in Midway or someone that lives in Riceboro?
Well,
or would it be the mayor or one of the council members?
Right. Right now, like I said, this is like the beginning stage, so it's up to them. But I'm almost certain, it'll probably be one of the mayors or the council that probably would want to serve on that board. But it's all up to them who they feel fit to. Absolutely. Yeah, okay. Right. Okay. And also on that last slide, I put legal on there because of course we would have to have our legal counsel, figure out the structure, and then that's when we'll be able to move forward with everything.
But Hinesville's not on that?
The reason why I left Hinesville off, and again, because Hinesville is the only city in our county that could levy taxes and also be able to have their own authority. So the reason why I left Hinesville off, which I would love to have Hinesville, but in my opinion, the way how this Liberty County Economic Development Authority will be working would be on the outside of Hinesville, because Hinesville already has 2 authorities already. They have one for the Hinesville downtown, and then they also have the Hinesville Development Authority. So in my opinion, we're working outside of that zone, because it's all zones. So we have the Hinesville Development Authority, that's right here. Then on the outside of the Hinesville Development Authority, you have the Hinesville Development Authority, and then outside of there, it'll be Liberty County Development Authority. Because see, this one is strictly focusing on economic development from a commercial standpoint and everything like that. And this is also a way how we can help our smaller municipalities who don't, have a tax break. So they are not even able to give any type of incentives to help create economic growth in their communities.
There has been some talk from some of the smaller municipalities about
right, levying taxes some type of way.
I heard it about Flemington.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Right.
Multi-bill mentioned it too, I think.
Right. And that's the thing. They have been talking about it. And be honest with you, if they do move forward with that, what that would only do is help this Economic Development Authority, because of course, they'd be able to help offset as well.
Commissioner, is that possible that we could add at least Gum Branch?
Absolutely.
As have a representative?
Not a problem.
or.
And elders. I mean, again, I'm totally open to,
Okay.
to having
I
representation.
think we will start having growth out there in that area.
Oh, absolutely, and that's another thing, you know, I just haven't been able to get a letter of support from them. That's the only reason why I left
For
them out.
changing, hands, you're sure.
I think you need to
New.
reconsider Hinesville exclusion. I think we could use their clout. And also, you know, we have the history of being collaborative partners, so someone might see this as being left out. And of course, you know, you got a brand-new mayor there that's coming in. And then also, you know this about, you got, now have a conversation with the new mayor of Walthamville.
Absolutely.
To get that buy-in. But I kind of see, you know, you're right, in that you're not focusing on Hinesville, but I think it would benefit you to have them around the table.
And again, you know, with all due respect, my entire district is inside of Hinesville. I live in Hinesville, so
Yeah.
I love Hinesville.
Yeah.
But also I understand, I'm looking at it from a county perspective, in that, with all due respect, Hinesville is going to be okay. Hinesville has always been okay. Hinesville is growing. The issue, whenever we look at a SWOT analysis, you know, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats, the issue is in Hinesville. Hinesville is, with all due respect, Hinesville is the one that's keeping us moving. The issue is that we have these other municipalities that are looking for commercial growth, but they can't recruit, because the reason why they can't recruit, because they can't incentivize. So again, I love Hinesville. I would love for Hinesville to be at the table. But again, I'm looking at the municipalities that really need the economic support in the structure.
Yeah.
But again, this is not set in stone.
I got you.
You know, I was just trying to get something on the table so we could look at and continue to move forward.
All right. Sounds good. Any other questions? You good?
No,
Move forward.
Good.
Ordinance Amendment, Section 432.
This is the consideration of ordinance amendment that y'all discussed, that has been brought to y'all a couple of times, that would change the setback requirements for sale of alcoholic beverage off premise. And it's outlined, proposed changes are outlined there for you. Section 4-3(2) of your current ordinance. Just as a reminder, you do have another section of an ordinance you looked at last time that basically does not allow any kind of alcohol sales until after, I believe it's 12:30 on Sundays. So I did insert a 1-foot criteria there, because under state law, if you don't have some kind of footage specified, then it reverts back to the state law, which would put a 300-foot setback in place automatically. So you do need some kind of setback, albeit minimal in this case. So that property could not be next door to a church, with inside a foot, which would be impossible.
So so it's 150 feet, or 600, which one?
No, sir, no, sir. This is a redone, it basically takes out the church from that requirement, except it narrows it from, actually what used to be 150 feet down to 1 foot from a church. So it couldn't be the adjoining property of a church.
So basically, it just can't be next door.
That's correct.
Right.
But how about the school?
Does not change the school, mortuary, or library requirements.
Just the church?
Leave the church.
And I mean,
That sounds almost like a spot.
And that's what we've seen. I mean, this is some text, and it can be anything you want it to be.
Right.
I mean, you could also take those others out of the criteria if you want to, but in this case, we're just looking at.
right. I guess, Mr. Chair, whatever we do, I think we just need to be uniform. I mean, because with all due respect, I mean, why does it still have to be so far away from a school, or more importantly, to a mortuary. I mean, with all the respect to the dead, but I mean,
Well, I tend to agree, 300 feet is probably as good. What is the city of Hinesville, 300?
They're different. They have a different classification system, so it's not worded like this, but I believe it is 300.
But I know of 2 city halls that are within 200 feet of where they sell alcohol. I mean, it's 2 of them. So and that's a governing body. So to say that somebody needs to be 600 feet away from something looks like Commissioner Thrift said, that's just a squat zone. I know there's a church on Airport Road, or what used to be Airport Road, I guess it's
Still Airport Road.
yeah, at Airport Road, and then you got across the road there, 2 convenience stores that sell alcohol. Now, the church can locate there, but, I just, I don't know, I'm not a big beer drinker, and, I don't go to church as much as I ought to, but I do know that as long as I've been living in Liberty County, I ain't never seen anybody leave the church and go straight across the road to a beer store.
or vice versa.
I mean, unless it's some bad preaching, he's gonna stay at church.
So the issue of zoning wouldn't come into play necessarily, because it would still have to be zoned commercial. So you wouldn't, they'd have to come to you for a zoning change. That's when you could consider whether you want a commercial activity close to a residential district or something like that, so it's separate.
Help me understand what Commissioner Wadham was said. If the church is there, or if the convenience store is there, then the church can build across from the convenience store, and it's already selling beer. But if the church is here already, then the convenience store can't.
That's correct. And I think the only little caveat is if the convenience store, a convenience store, if they don't renew their alcohol permit and cease to operate selling alcohol, then they lose the right to be so-called grandfathered in, and then they would have to fall under the same type of ordinance if the church built after they were already permitted.
So, convenience store versus liquor store.
Right.
If the church is here and we change it, then the convenience store can come, but just a standalone liquor store,
Distilled
hard liquor
spirits
could
will
not come.
be
Could not
affected,
come.
That's right.
I don't know, if I'm in church, I don't want my kids to come out and see somebody coming out and hanging out parking lot, beer in their hand.
And we're not talking about a bar or anything like that. No kind of consumption.
No consumption on premise. It would have to be consumed off premise.
But
I don't believe you can do that
I
at a
was-
convenience store now, can you?
not supposed to, but you probably
Well, no,
do.
you
not
can't.
supposed to,
You're
but
not
I-
supposed to.
Not
It's
supposed
for-
to.
It
it's
happens,
only
though.
for consumption off, right. Yeah,
Off
that's
premise.
yeah, it would not be on premise consumption.
And it has to be in a bag anyway, coming out.
I'm not sure.
Well,
Yeah,
they
you put
walk
it in a
down the
bag
road,
and
put
pop
it in
the
a
top.
case.
Yeah, it's a case.
They can walk down the
Allegedly,
road.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, you put it in a
We
bag and
walk
pop the top.
back to a case.
And I believe the law says that you can sell it after 11 o'clock on Sunday, right?
I think it's
12:30.
12:30.
12:30, so church ought to be out. That's the reason,
Well,
so
some
they gonna
church.
pick it up when they leave
Not
church.
over there where I go to church. We're just getting started.
Y'all warm it up.
Yeah, the preacher hadn't even started. They're just on the first collection.
What do we need to do, change the ordinance, is that what we
You,
need?
you could, and you could change those hours too, it's whatever, I'm not suggesting, it's whatever y'all want to do.
So a convenience store can't sell it till after 12:30-ish now?
Right.
Right.
Sure, you made some, Mr. Chairman, we made some changes. This is some changes that you put in here.
Yes, sir, and I had them redlined last time. I just
Okay.
took out the red lines this time.
And, well, let's say the changes, that we put in here. If we, approve this, then, the issues that brought this before us would be resolved.
As far as potential locations to church, that's right.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, I guess one more question. Are we, so how are we defining a church? Because what I'm saying is, I know we have standalone churches, and then also we have some that are inside commercial structures.
So it's, well,
Universal?
Storefronts.
Storefronts.
so, you
Yeah, I
know,
didn't want to
while
call them
there's,
storefronts. I just,
yeah, in your ordinance right now.
didn't want to use that word.
It doesn't say church shall be known as follows, but here's kind of a hint that's already in there. Property lines of the church or other place used exclusively for religious proceedings.
Right.
So it couldn't be a multi-purpose thing. It'd have to be exclusively church of whatever. And the only thing they do in there is hold church,
Okay.
if that helps any.
Right, I guess legally, I mean, you could argue either way, because a structure, say for instance, it's a suite with 8 in there. Churches, well, it's a store in suite number 2.
Storefront.
Yeah, see, y'all use that. Y'all can say it all you want. Suite number 2, and then there's a
Suite number 5.
suite number 5 is a church. So will that count?
If they use it exclusively for religious purposes.
Exclusively for religious
I
purposes.
mean, but technically what I'm
Their
saying is
social
that the whole
hall
structure
or
isn't,
youth building.
Well,
but
yeah,
that suite is.
yeah, that becomes a
is.
little difficult because it's measured in a straight line for the property line of that area to the building which the business is located.
And it's only one building.
Well, so it'd be measured from the property line that strip centers in to the actual building corner nearest to that property line.
So in other words, no.
So in other words,
Touchy.
I just wanted to bring that to everyone's attention, because, and that's what I'm saying, that's so tricky, because if someone already has something in there where they are, have consumption, well, where you could purchase, but then a church want to move in, then that's okay. But if the church is already there, they won't be able to move in.
Yeah, you're restricting the one business for a house, and that's what I consider would be spot zoning. I mean, there's a lot of businesses that would locate in areas. I just, right now, you think of, the city halls that we talked about.
Right.
That are within distances of alcohol. Does it make a difference in their, folks that come to the meetings? I don't think it does. I don't think it makes a difference in the public officials that's there. So, the distance, I don't think it ought to, either way, make an exception or change the ordinance. I mean, I think changing the ordinance maybe whatever it is.
Well, that was in there for a reason at one time or another.
Well,
And I
be real
understand
honest with
things
you,
are
Commissioner.
changing, but
I know you weren't here when
I was.
we talked about it, but I remember on Memorial Drive, my dad said when he came here in the military, along with John's dad, every corner there was selling beer, everywhere down through there. So when they finally got it cleared up, the city with your dad, they decided they weren't gonna have any alcohol sold on Memorial Drive. For that reason. And then you had the schools that was gonna build at Bradwell, and across the road you had different places there. So it was something that, a lot of government officials decided that's what they wanted to do. My dad never voted for, and I know he ain't watching me on TV because he don't have cable, but he never did ever vote for alcohol. But there's a part of me that says that, you know, and moderation is moderation. I don't drink. I can't tell you that I didn't. I did. But I'm just saying, I don't want to, that person that comes out of that store, there may be somebody coming out of the church that can meet him halfway and change him. I don't know. So,
I had a question, one more question. This is just for the ordinance, but if someone tries to get a piece of property rezoned and it's near a church, then that church would get a letter, it would come before us to approve or disapprove
That's correct.
the rezoning of a convenience store. And then you may have opposition from the church.
You may have.
And then it'll be up for us to make that decision if we approve the rezoning, even though the ordinance says it could go there,
That's,
if we changed it.
that's right, is, you know, on any piece of zoning that would not allow commercial sales, because once you open up the commercial sales button, then alcohol establishments can come, right? They're classified as commercial, so yes, ma'am, it would come before you.
Okay.
What piece of zoning would that be? Where they would have to come, because what I'm saying is, because if it's already pre-zoned.
She's talking, we're talking about people, we're talking about some that are not rezoned.
Yeah.
So they're in a classification code that would not allow
Agriculture,
convenience
so,
stores.
yeah.
They'd have to come before you.
But what I'm saying is, if they're already in that.
They don't have to come before
They
you,
don't have
right?
to install.
Right.
There's no rezoning required. 'cause not
Right,
changing
it's only
the
about the
zoning.
ordinance then.
That's right, it's only by the ordinance that requires.
So what I'm saying is, if they, whatever our ordinances said at, that's our policy, they won't have to come in front of us. If that particular
there.
piece is already rezoned.
Right, but if it's not rezoned, then they come.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah, you're right.
I think her question was, if they're going to rezone to put a convenience store in, would it have to come before us? Yeah, obviously, any rezoning would, right?
Right, but
And
it's,
then, the zoning classification would tell you what to go there.
did it make you?
all right. Understand. What did we decide? I guess we'll come back to it.
Well, no, I'm ready to make a motion.
I'm
Mr.
ready to
Chairman.
accept one.
Okay. Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we adopt the ordinance amendment, section 4-32.
Is there a second to the motion?
Second.
Motion and second, we'll adopt the ordinance amendment as been presented. Is there further discussion? Clear? All right, all in favor, show of hands, please. Those opposed? 2. All right, motion passes.
Mr. Chair, one more thing before we get to number 6. Back to 5C, what have, I know we heard the presentation, so I guess I requested that we put a committee together.
Yeah. You did, follow you had it laid out there, and then I just mentioned that you have 2 new mayors to talk to.
I don't think any of those mayors would be against, helping them out economically. So,
And listen, I'm not saying, I would certainly give them consideration and talk to them, and if they're not on board, then you.
oh, we're moving forward
move on.
regardless.
But I would certainly.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I would not,
And I mean, I would even take your suggestion with, the city of Hinesville. So I guess my request would be, so do we want to put a committee together, or how do we move forward to make sure that we continue? I know, Kelly.
Just one question, Commissioner Frazier, I know one of your slides, you said legal. Have you talked with, I guess you were talking about Kelly?
Right, we.
I mean, so there'll be bylaws just like.
Absolutely.
I mean, do we have those already?
No, not yet.
Right, we don't, but we do have a pretty much a structure, or,
I mean, it'd be pretty similar to what. other stuff
Absolutely.
is, but,
Absolutely. You know, to be honest with you, for the most part, just, you know, a few name changes and all of that. I mean, you know, we could really structure just like how the Huntsville Development Authority was done.
But we can try to program Kelly for the mid-month in January.
Okay,
And he may want to bring us some options to look at.
okay.
Yeah. And then that give you time to talk to the new mayors and all that.
All right, so I'm just a committee of one. That's fine.
Right now,
Let's ride, baby.
and,
Thank you.
and, well, I guess we got 2 new mayors, but we also got the old mayors that
Yeah.
hadn't been.
well, he's talked to the old mayors.
Oh, yeah,
already talked to them.
I already have letters of support from all of them. I apologize, I didn't put it in the presentation, but I have official letters from all of them.
Just ain't got us on board yet, eh?
Man. Man.
Proper has no honor at home, that's what the Bible says. Updates, Mr. Brown? No, sir, all right. Merry Christmas.
Merry
Happy New Year. Chair, take a motion to adjourn.
No way.
All in favor?